Happy December. This is your career coach, David Smith, and I want to wish you a wonderful end of the year. I hope you've had a successful 2019. What I want to do today is just spend a few minutes thinking about how you might think about what you've accomplished and what you've done in 2019 in an effort to think about goals for 2020. Now, one of the things I recognize is that some people really shy away from evaluating what they've done in the past. If the goals and targets haven't been set, personal ones, then sometimes it's a bummer, right? Thinking about that. And sometimes what we want to just focus on is the future, thinking about the future. And I agree, it's all about the future and not about the past. Having said that, I do think it's important to put some time in thinking about what you've done in the past year in order to think about the best goals and objectives for the coming year. Sometimes what ends up happening is if we don't spend time looking at what we've done in the past year, we repeat the same mistakes in the coming year. So if you set a goal in 2019 that you didn't accomplish because of some impediment or some obstacle that you didn't overcome, and you don't think about that, and you set the goal again for 2020, well, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to be the same issue. So here is a really kind of brief way of thinking about it, not complicated at all, but what you might want to just think about in setting your goals for 2020, starting by, yes, thinking about your goals in 2019. The first thing I would say is that make sure you're in a good space when you do this thinking about the past year. So make sure it's quiet, that you're not interrupted. Maybe you need to put on some empowering music, maybe bring some focus, light a candle, be a little meditative about it. It's not something you're going to kind of, quickly go through. It's really something you've got to spend some time looking at. The other thing I would say is that you really need to have pen and paper in hand, and I would not suggest a computer because if you've got a computer and you're connected to the internet, you might end up surfing and being distracted. So I'm really talking about kind of the old-fashioned, old-school way of doing it, right? Taking a pad and writing it down. What you might want to start off by doing is really taking a piece of paper, this is a memo pad, and just putting a column of plus and minus in 2019. Very easy. And what you want to do is you want to go through that and put down as the pluses the things that you've accomplished over the year, and as the minuses, the things that didn't get accomplished, basically. Don't worry if one list is longer than the other. It's not really a matter of the number of things. It's just a matter of you collecting those things, recognizing that sometimes a minus is a minor minus and a plus is a major plus. Like if you said a plus, I completed a degree, right? That's a major thing, and a minor could be, something as simple as, I forgot to do something, like some error you made in the beginning of the year. So don't worry about whether one list is longer than the other. It's really about quantity and the substance of what you're doing. Then put it aside. If you make that list, put it aside. Don't think about it for a day or two. Then come back to the list. Come back to the list and look at the list again with fresh eyes. And what happens invariably is when you come back to a list like that, some of the pluses, there may be more pluses and there might be more minuses, or maybe there are less, or maybe they look differently, right? But what's really important is that you look at them again before you really commit to making a change. When you're looking at your minuses and the things you didn't accomplish, it's really important to think about what were the impediments, what were the things that prohibited you from doing that. So it's not a matter so much of, I didn't accomplish this goal. Say your goal was, you're looking for work. I was going to go on two informational interviews a week. That might have been totally unrealistic depending on how much time you have. And so what you're putting in there is the goal you didn't accomplish without necessarily recognizing that what really is the issue is that you didn't allot enough time in order to do it, right? So the impediment or the obstacle that you really have to change is really what prevented you from doing it. So one of the things to really think about is that if you're setting goals for next year and you're thinking about what you're going to do, is really thinking about are there impediments that prevented me from doing things in the past year that I can remove in the coming year? Right? So then you do your list for 2020. You're going through the pluses and your minuses. If there are pluses, there's no reason to put them on the next list unless there's something you're going to continue. If it's a minus and you've been able to really figure out the impediment itself, then you really focus on the impediment. It may not be really a matter of, I didn't do 2 information reviews a week. It may have been, I don't really know enough people. I'm not network enough. I'm not putting enough time in it, thinking really in terms of that way. All right. The other thing to think about something like this is not a list that is not subject to revision and to change. Even though you write it down, doesn't mean that you're not going to revise it, because revising it really reflects renewed thinking, a bit of wisdom, a bit of perspective. So really be prepared to change it almost on a weekly basis. One of the challenges I have is a lot of people view New Year's as New Year's resolutions, and then they have these resolutions that are supposed to take them for the whole year, and they last about 3 or 4 days. Rather than looking at every Monday, we'll say every Sunday is a chance to renew. So even look at this list as an opportunity to renew. Last thing I would say is that when you don't seek or you don't meet an objective you're supposed to meet, forgive yourself quickly. Don't hang on it. Forgive yourself quickly and go on to the other thing. One of the things about a list of things to do is recognizing that realistically, you don't get everything done. Realistically, you're probably going to get less things done than things you didn't get done when it comes down to it. And the way you move forward is by not kind of putting yourself down, being realistic about the time that you have, and then going on to the next thing, and then working from that list. And once again, as I said, be prepared to change it as you go through this process. Have a great end of the year, a great New Year's, a happy 2020, and I will be back talking to you again next year. Next year, I'm thinking about doing less videos, maybe doing them every couple of months rather than doing them on a monthly basis. So you might not see a new video from me until maybe by February, and probably my videos are going to be a little bit longer, only because I want to go into a little bit more deeper on some things. All right, take care and have a great day.